Most people have been using these 10 types of packaging incorrectly all their lives without realizing it. Watch this video to find out if you are one of them. You'll soon see what ketchup bottles, flour packaging, and these drinking bottle lids have to do with it. But first, I'll show you why you should always place bread like this the wrong way round when you cut it. Because I'm sure you're familiar with the situation where you slice bread and always cut the slices the wrong way round. But the ingenious trick to ensure this never happens again is to simply place the bread the wrong way round. Thanks to the smooth surface you now have, you can always cut really straight slices and never again have the problem of them being far too thin on one side. But did you also know that if you can't open a jar like this easily, all you need is a can opener? You can either use this edge to hook underneath here, or you can find something further up somewhere that you can carefully lever underneath so that air can get in here, and you can open the jar really quickly and easily yourself without any effort. And such a ready-made pudding is incredibly tasty. But unfortunately, the vanilla sauce is always at the bottom of the jar, and it's really annoying when you open it and have to poke around with the spoon until you get to the sauce. It's so much easier. All you really have to do is open the lid at the top and place the whole thing upside down on a plate. As you can see, the whole thing won't come out here. It can't work at all because it's firmly in the packaging, but all you have to do is take a closer look at it. Most of the time you'll even find an arrow on it, which unfortunately you can't really see here. But it points to this small field and you can prick it. That's what it's for, as the packaging is much thinner here. Simply prick it with a fork or knife and pull the packaging upwards. The pudding is already on your plate in its entirety, and now you can also find the vanilla sauce on top. Before I show you two incredible tricks with such a ketchup packet, I would first like to show you what you should do with such round cookie packets. They usually have an opening somewhere that is already prepared. For example, a red ribbon to open them completely. Now you can take out a few cookies and eat them. But if there is still some of the packet left, you will of course want to close it again. And there is an ingenious trick for this. Instead of simply pressing the whole thing shut, which doesn't hold anyway and always opens again, you just have to take the part that you previously tore off at the top. If you put this in the wrong way round, which by the way fits perfectly, it is completely sealed. Simply push it up to the first cookies and you can put the pack aside. Incidentally, you should never simply open large bags like this in your freezer as a whole. Instead, you should cut out a small section at the top, as if you were cutting a small U in here. Because what you can do now is simply tip the contents out of the pack through the hole you've cut into it and put everything that's left in there. You don't need a clip or anything like that. You can simply grab the two corners and tie a knot. That way it's really completely sealed and you can put it back in the freezer. In a moment I'll show you the incredible trick with the flour packaging, which I couldn't believe existed at first, and what this drinking bottle is all about. But first, here are the two tricks with the ketchup packaging. Because when you open it for the first time, you have to remove this seal at the top of the bottle. But instead of simply tearing it off, you should grab the lid and open it. You'll find such a small field on it that you can insert a hole right in the middle. To do this, press it firmly onto the packaging until it clicks once. Then you can take it off again, have a small hole in it, can screw the lid back on and use the ketchup bottle perfectly. But this trick is even more ingenious. Because if you need some ketchup, you shouldn't just squeeze the packaging like crazy. Instead, you should hold it sideways and squeeze both sides. This will ensure that some air gets into the packaging, and if you let go now, the ketchup will simply flow out of the bottle. And only a small amount. This way you can dose it much better. Once you've done it once, you'll only want to do it this way. If you regularly use packaging like this, you should never tear it open like this and never just tear off a corner. Instead, you should take this piece in your hand and carefully pull it through from top to bottom. This will allow you to open the entire side of the packaging and get to the contents perfectly. But this trick has another ingenious function, because if you don't want to eat any more from the packaging, you can simply twist it together. Put this part back through the top, pull it tight and wrap it around the packaging so that it is perfectly sealed. But have you ever heard of the flour packaging trick? Because when you buy flour packaging like this, you certainly always open it at the top and fold it over a few times. But it's much easier. You should simply turn the packaging over and look for this seal at the bottom of the packaging. If you flip it up now, you will find a small scissors symbol. This is where you should actually open the flour packaging. Pull the whole thing up a little, then grab a pair of scissors and make a small cut right at this point. Now you can tear it open a little further and you have the perfect opening for your flour packaging, because now you can simply shake it out carefully when you need flour. And above all, when you've finished with the flour, you can simply close this corner again and no longer have the problem of having to fold it over several times. This makes it much quicker and easier to get your flour when you need it. But it was the next trick that completely amazed me. You're probably familiar with these drinks bottles. All you have to do is open them at the top, then flip the lid open once and you can drink from them. They have such a small suction cup in the top that you can suck out the liquid. But did you know that you can twist off the lid completely, then open this small lid in general and simply push the suction cup downwards? You can then drink from the bottle without sucking on this piece and use it for other purposes. But that's not all the packaging tricks that hardly anyone knows about. There are even more, which I show you in the video you can see on the screen now. Click on it and watch the video too.